Back in his own zone, chased by McCarr. The dynasty will be denied, and a new legacy begins. They've reached the summit, and the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Monday, June 27th, and it is the season finale edition of the Ice Guys show, our final episode for the 2021-22 season. And we are here to put a bow, I guess, if you will, on the season, the Stanley Cup final, and even look ahead a little bit, which is our tradition the last few years in these season finale shows to next year, where look at the Stanley Cup futures board for next season, which we already obviously have available to look at. So we'll talk about that as well. It's Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, Vito with you for this final episode of the season. So it's been an incredible season, and it ended with an incredible Stanley Cup final, to be quite honest with you. The Stanley Cup final was I think it was excellent. Even though it didn't go the distance, Colorado wrapping it up in 6 games last night. I thought it was a terrific Stanley Cup final. You know, you toss aside the game that Tampa Bay won 6-2 and the game that Colorado won 7-0, and every other game was hotly contested. Every game was close. Every game was down to the wire, an exciting finish. You didn't know what was going to happen right till the end. And give the Colorado Avalanche credit. They are the 2022 Stanley Cup champions. They earned it. They overcame the beast that was the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. A terrific performance from the Colorado Avalanche. And how ironic is it that in the third period of the closeout game last night, they play the type of hockey the Tampa Bay Lightning were synonymous for throughout much of this playoff run. Just good defending, sound, sturdy, block shots, just make sure you clear the puck out of the zone every opportunity you get. Everything that you need to do, essentially, to be able to close out a playoff game and close out a series. And the Colorado Avalanche were able to do that. They bested Tampa Bay at their own game, essentially, in the third period last night. And Darcy Kemper proves to be the bounce-back kid once again. People doubting him, people saying, what the hell, the first goal in Game 5, how do you give that up? The third goal, even that Palat scored, is a little bit dubious, but he bounces back with a strong game. And what a time for Nathan MacKinnon, who I'm sure if he was honest, he would tell you he wasn't thrilled with his Stanley Cup final performance through the first 5 games. What a time for him to finally step up here in Game 6, the clinching game last night. A goal and an assist, gets Colorado going, ties the game at 1. He was all over the ice, tons of shots. His shot on goal prop once again went over the total with ease. So it was a great performance from MacKinnon. Cale Makar wins the Conn Smythe trophy. A credit to Alex B. Smith. He was on that. A great job calling that one. And how are you going to give it to anyone but Makar? I mean, I know Big Val Nichushkin came on like a freight train in the playoffs and got some votes and consideration as well, rightfully so. But Cale Makar, 29 points in 20 playoff games. How do you not give it to that incredible defenseman for the Avalanche, who we compare more and more to Bobby Orr every day? Like, that really is the kind of ceiling he has. But no, it was a great performance. And if you're Tampa Bay, we'll get into some other things that bothered me about Tampa Bay. But for now, I want to say the good things. And the good things are that they are a heart-filled, gutsy team, tons of heart, tons of character, never say die, no quit attitude from this hockey team throughout, even though they were battling serious injuries. I have no doubt that Pat Maroon was saying the truth when he said you're going to be shocked by this injury report when it comes out for the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I know for a fact it sure looked like a bunch of their players were not 100%. So an incredible gutsy effort right to the bitter end for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it was bitter. They looked like they just went through, a marathon only to lose last night. I mean, the physical duress, the emotional toll that this run has taken on Tampa Bay. You could see it in the faces of Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman, everyone that spoke to the media after that loss last night. Drained physically, drained mentally, drained emotionally and just so gut-wrenched that they came 2 wins short of achieving an incredible third straight Stanley Cup. So a great series, great end to the season. Alex, Colorado, Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah, I mean, and a wire-to-wire run is the favorite. They opened up, plus 500, plus 550 the opening night, and pretty much closed, around 300 and going into, the conference finals. So it's just an incredible run to see. And this is a team that, like I said, this organization, they built themselves up from the bottom. Had some struggling years with Denver, making the changes, getting Joe Sakic, getting Jared Bednar. Kudos to him. He's now the first coach to win in the ECHL, AHL, and NHL. So that's an incredible accomplishment for him. And like I said, to finally see McKinnon and Landeskog, to see Eric Johnson as happy as he was, and there's a lot of guys, Andrew Cogliano, those veterans who've played so many hard games for so many years, and to finally get to this point to hoist the Stanley Cup, and seeing Darcy Kemper with all that he's dealt with during this postseason and the run he made, Valerie Nichushkin, we finally see afterward what his foot looked like. He's playing through a broken foot and had surgery on his hand between the conference finals and the Cup final. Still was able to give 23 minutes of time on the ice. In the clinching game. It's just unbelievable. And that's why we love playoff hockey so much. It's those stories, those moments, you get to see them come to fruition with a Stanley Cup championship. So, congrats to the Colorado Avalanche. I'm sure, like I said, it's going to be a humongous parade in downtown Denver in the coming days. And like I said, for Tampa Bay, an absolutely incredible run. And like I said, it's still, in my mind, one of the best 3-year runs of any team, certainly in NHL history, if not, team sports history, or the big 4 sports here in North America. With all they had to deal with over the last 3 years, playing through the pandemic, going through the bubble, having sold out crowds, no crowds, limited crowds, and be able to not only win back-to-back cups, but make it to a third straight cup and actually make it a series when they seemed like they were dead in the water, to really just fight all the way through. Like I said, you can tell that they're guys that are banged up, guys who are just mentally and physically fatigued from this run. It's amazing that they were able to make it this far, and like I said, and make it a competitive series. If they got swept in 4, it would, I don't think it would shock anyone too much, just because of the amount of hockey and the amount of high pressure hockey, high level hockey they've had to play. But they were able to at least overcome that. And like I said, even in a loss, they can hang their heads high knowing that they have accomplished something tremendous over the last 3 years, something that we may not see, too often in the salary cap era.
Yeah, and now the question is going to become, okay, Tampa Bay had their 2-year run, back-to-back Stanley Cups, third year almost did it again. Is Colorado now going to be a team that's going to be a threat to win it back-to-back years and win it multiple years? I would say so, because this core is going to stay together for a very long time.
And here's the interesting thing, too. You look at Tampa Bay and Colorado, look at the situations for next season with the salary cap. We know Tampa Bay's issues. They're $2.2 million over the cap ceiling. They're going to have to make changes just like they did last year, and probably have to be even more drastic than last year. Look at Colorado. They've only got $25 million allotted right now. They're actually $4.4 million under the cap floor. So they have money to spend, and they can choose to re-sign some of the free agents that were here and help them win, or they can try to upgrade with some of these positions too. So they're in a great position that you don't see many champions in this salary cap era have. Most of the time, you've seen teams that have to dump salary, have to make wholesale changes. Think about the Hawks back in 2010, where they screwed up everything with the RFAs, so they had to trade a bunch of guys literally 3 days after the parade. Colorado's not gonna have to do that. If anything, they've got to make some tough decisions on who they want to keep and what guys on the outside they want to bring in to give them a shot to win another Stanley Cup.
No question. And so there's going to be, it's good. The Tampa Bay situation is very, very fascinating going into next year. Definitely going to be, once again, with them, some changes with the roster going into next year and some salary cap finagling, if you will, that's going to have to be done. And we'll see how that results in their impacts their ability to remain a legit I'm sure they still will be in the mix next year. But Stanley Cup contender, can they get back to that level and threaten to win it for the third time in 4 years next year? We'll have to wait and see. Vito, congrats on a 5-1 Stanley Cup final, which wrapped up successfully for you with Colorado money line last night as they finish off the series.
Yeah, well, everything happened actually as I predicted, which is pretty interesting. That doesn't happen too often. But yeah, Colorado. But Tampa got that early lead, 1-0, and then two lucky bounces. It's hockey. This is hockey. You just get lucky bounces. I mean, Lehkonen and Nate scores. It's 2-1, and then they just played the best defensively hockey they ever played. And I mean, if when you're playing for the cup, I mean, and you have that 1 goal difference, and you really could notice that Colorado wanted that cup. I mean, no mistakes were made. In that third period, it was bad. They was tested there by Tampa. Tampa played the best hockey as well. We saw actually the two best teams going at each other at their best, and that's how it looked in the third period. I mean, and yeah, congratulations to but my bet also was -1.5 games in series for Avs, which also cashed. So just Tampa was, we all know, a little bit fatigued. We knew that we were gonna have this conversation. I think that Tampa was just a little bit fatigued, and you see, even with Vasilevsky, you cannot win because Vasilevsky can steal you the games, and I mean, two goals is not a lot to allow, and still Vasilevsky ends up not winning, even being the better goalie here. You see, so yeah, I mean, I think for me the saddest thing is Vasilevsky. Like somebody saying Maroon, or maybe somebody saying Perry. I would say Vasilevsky. I think that guy still is the best goalie in the world, and he deserves to be the champion. Well, but there's actually so many other goalies which are like Carey Price. I mean, look at that guy. I would say he's the best one actually, but he never won the Stanley Cup. Well, yeah, interesting to be a goalie. Darcy Kemper, first goal, everybody starts writing Twitter that are you still trusting this Darcy Kemper and so, but look at Darcy Kemper, great rebound game from him, and I mean, if you're playing in NHL, any goalie is good. I mean, they're just not good consistently. There is ups and downs, but any goalie can any given night come out and play you a goal game if he wants. We all remember Mr. Hamburger.
Yes. I love how you still call him Hamburger after all these years, talking about Mr. Andrew Hammond. Yes. Yeah.
Andrew Hammond. So, yeah, it was a great season. I mean, and yeah, which team comes in? When we did a show, in the very beginning, and did the predictions, I know that Ian went with Colorado and Carolina, and I think you picked Colorado as the winners for the Stanley Cup. So here you go. That's a great prediction there. I think Andrew had the same one. I know that I had Calgary Flames in finals against Tampa Bay Lightning. That's what I had. So one side I got correct, which was most of the people are predicting Carolina there. But what about Carolina? Well, those, I would say, a lot of things. Well, those injuries, obviously, in the wrong moment, I would say, make the difference, because I mean, Ranta was good, but not in the long term. In the late, he fell off a little bit, and overall, we see the teams, just some team. Well, I think Carolina can still be a great Islanders. Maybe next year, I'm looking at them, what they can pull out. After a bad season, maybe you can expect a hot start from the Islanders next year. That's one thing which I would like to mention. Many coaches still to be decided. I mean, Philadelphia Flyers will be something interesting to look at, I think, with John Tortorella there. And what I can tell you more. Well, I was happy to see there was a nice superstition. Remember, Ian, we talked about superstition sitting me outside, losing that bet last time.
That's right.
So
Went back inside, you got back on track. Exactly.
Same thing said Nathan McKinnon when how you call this lady which interviews everyone? Kaplan?
Emily on ESPN. Yeah, it was Emily Kaplan.
So she was interviewing Nathan McKinnon, and I think Cogliano or Kadri came next to Nathan McKinnon and said 1787, and Kaplan asked what means 1787, and he said, well, me and him we both adore Crosby, and when we came to the hotel, we see our number on the hotel room was 7087. So then we straight away knew that we were gonna win this game. So actually, I put that in my Twitter. Well, some funny superstition things you see, and even players tell you that, and it's a lot about. I think in hockey, it's a lot about superstitions. You see how John Cooper talks about Vasilevsky, that they just go around him. They don't even ask him what he does on those games, because I think the goalies some goalies can do some weird
They are
stuff,
very superstitious. Yeah.
yeah, you will just not say no. Yeah, you just don't touch him. You just leave him there, and that's how it is. Yeah, but yeah, congrats to Colorado. Congrats to great season. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Great point by Jarek. For years, NBC was, hey, after the cup gets awarded and for a couple of turns, the captain goes around this ice with the cup and a couple other players. It's get off the air and get to the local news. For years with NBC, but apparently ABC did a better job last night. They stayed on longer
Gary
after
Bettman
the game.
That's the COVID, right? He was not. Who was the guy actually doing the
That was-
Stanley Cup?
That was Bill Daly, the
Yeah.
NHL head of the board of governors.
Yeah.
I think is his title. He's like the president, so he's like second in command. So yeah, Bettman had COVID, and yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned about with the ABC keeping the coverage long. I think that's because it fell on a Sunday. If that had been Game 7 on a Tuesday night, they probably would have been rushed off with news and late night shows. But they were able to hang on a little bit longer because of Sunday, being a Sunday night.
I want to also add maybe one more thing because I'm not staying long enough here today. Rick in the chat is saying something about refs. I would agree with refs. Yeah, refs can call that. Refs can be shitty there, but in the end of the day, refs are not scoring you the goals. So, for example, all the offside calls, which were, for example, that offside call where Makar scored. Remember, guys, which was everyone was thinking, how is that not offside? When Nichushkin was coming, I think it was in series against Oilers, right?
Yeah.
So, but that not to happen, Duncan Keith could just clear the puck better, So in the end of the day,
right, of course, the players got to play and execute.
Exactly, it's not the referees which brings you that. He can make 1-2 back out, but I think in the end, still the best team wins, especially when it's when it's 7-game series, where it's not one game. So that's what I wanted to tell.
100%. Just like the Flames fans that thought Blake Coleman's goal being disallowed cost them the series. Maybe it hurt in that game, but you didn't lose the series because of that against Edmonton.
They needed to play better.
Yeah, you just got to play better. You got outplayed by Edmonton in that series. And to be quite honest, Mike Smith was very good in that series, and Jacob Markstrom really wasn't that great. And the defense of Calgary struggled with Edmonton the whole time. So, yeah, you got to play at the end of the day. And same thing with Tampa Bay. Like Tampa Bay, I want to give them all the credit in the world for the guts. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many players play through extreme injuries. I'm fascinated to see what the full injury report ends up being for Tampa Bay. But the one thing I didn't like was it seemed like every time Colorado scored or there was a penalty to Tampa Bay, there was a complaint, or there was players or Cooper complaining very, very vociferously about it every single time, to the point where it's like Colorado couldn't breathe. Colorado couldn't, do anything out there, even skate an inch without Tampa Bay complaining about something. It got to the
Gallant level.
No, it got a little much for me. I mean, you're two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. You're better than that, guys. Come on. You don't have to complain after every single thing that happens. I didn't like that, but what I did like was John Cooper's, as usual, class and eloquence in his post-game press conference. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. I mean, you really should go out of your way to watch John Cooper's final press conference last night after the loss. And even after the loss last night, he did what he had done after the wins in the final Stanley Cup final game the last 2 years. He brings his whole coaching staff onto the podium with him as he has the press conference, which is great because he says we're a team and I'm not anything without these guys, that are my assistants and on my staff. So really good stuff from Cooper there. Made up for some of the complaining throughout the season, which I didn't like, but overall, no, Cooper's a hell of a coach. He obviously is. He's a terrific speaker. No question about that. And he always has a great way of summing things up just perfectly. Vito, we know you got to bounce, so give us some final words. Let me just first say, since you're leaving now, that it's been a blast having you as part of the Ice Guys. It has. I mean, we just stumbled across you in the chat one day, and then I found out you played the game, and I'm like, you might be a candidate to be at least a contributor on a semi-regular basis here on the show, and you've been with us on our weekend shows all season long since about January or February. Great job. Your English is good enough, in my opinion. I know you were concerned about that. It keeps getting better as far as I'm concerned. Vito, great stuff. I mean, awesome to have you as part of the family, really, and you did a great job.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And I like to gain the knowledge. I think without these shows, the knowledge which comes from these shows is very, very big. It helps everyone. I mean, looking just at these spots and fatigue and all the emotional stuff. You know, you can learn so much, and you always keep up to date everyone. You know, so I mean, you can just watch this show, you know, and you will know everything, you know, more. So you don't need to go to any sites and check who is injured. You know, you just turn on the Ice Guys every day, and you hear all the information here. Yeah. So thank you for having me, guys, and I'll definitely back next year. And yeah, we will see what happens. I think Sabres have great chances next year, guys.
How about that? How about that to leave it with a lasting nugget of a prediction right there before we wrap up the season? Buffalo is going to make noise next year, says Vito. I don't disagree with that necessarily. Yeah,
Buffalo making playoffs.
Yeah,
wow. Skinner, those guys are hot, I think.
Okay. Bold prediction from the from Vito here. I want to see what they do with their fucking goaltending, though.
They always have hot start.
That's my big concern for them.
Yeah, I have noticed that Sabres always start seasons hot.
Yeah, they have. They have. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, guys. See you and have a great show.
All right, Vito. Have a great summer, my friend. There he is, Vito, a.k.a. because it's like Bobano with me. We're going to forget what his real birth name is. Some people don't even know Ian Cameron is my real name. Honestly, they just say Bobano. Rinus Vitalins, that was from Latvia. Vito with us here. A great job this season with us here on the Ice Guys as a contributor for sure. Just some final nuggets about the final. I want to talk about Kadri's comments because I thought, you know, it's just some people are butthurt by it. Like, show some class. Some people are saying, well, guess what? This guy's endured a season where he's had a bunch of injuries. He had to have surgery on his thumb. He's getting racist comments and racist, you know, which were awful in the St. Louis series thrown his way. That obviously is not something that makes you feel good. He's gone through a lot. He's overcome a lot. He's gone through playoffs past where he probably lacked a little maturity and he got suspended multiple times with Toronto. There's no question. And I think that's part of the reason why the Leafs kind of soured on bringing him back long term. But he has every right to pump up and be boastful right now. I say go for it. I don't mind him saying that. He'll let it out. He's gone through a lot, this guy. Especially in this year's playoffs and in years past. He said it's going to actually go down probably as one of the more legendary post-game comments after a Stanley Cup final, that his interview with Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukauskas on Hockey Night in Canada broadcast after the game, saying, for those of you that thought I was a liability in the playoffs, you can kiss my ass, essentially is exactly what the quote was. And look, He was actually a couple of years there, bad decisions, took himself out of the playoffs, but he has made up for it. He has clearly matured with age. I think he's become an even better hockey player, quite honestly. He was very good with Toronto. I actually think he's taken his game to another level here in Colorado. I've been impressed with how better his finishing ability is. You know, he was always thought of as a decent goal scorer, but I thought he improved that part of his game. The offensive side, I thought it was one of his best seasons ever. He still gives you the good, you know, what he can do, what he's done all his whole career, and that's penalty kill, faceoffs, certainly defensive awareness away from the puck, the physical component as well. It was a great season for him. And look, he won a Stanley Cup. And this isn't a situation where, you know, if Kadri is a bit player or plays a bit role, Alex, in this championship, he probably can't go on there and say something like that. You can kiss my ass. Right. But not only did he win the Stanley Cup, he was an integral part of why Colorado won the Stanley Cup. He had a terrific playoffs. He was outstanding, both ends of the ice, scored big goals for Colorado throughout the postseason. He made an impact almost every single night for this team. He was a big proponent in them winning this Stanley Cup. So he got it done. He played great. He didn't get suspended. He kept everything in check. He played whistle to whistle. He didn't do any shit after the whistle. No elbows to the side of the head in the middle of the open ice. No cross checks from behind. None of that shit this year with Nazem Kadri. He matured. He played phenomenal hockey. And now he's a Stanley Cup champion. If he wants to rub it in some people's faces that gave him grief, I say, good on you, Nazem Kadri. Bravo. I have no issues with the comments last night, especially with everything he's had to go through. You've got people that have no conscience whatsoever, you know, being racist and being, you know, with those horrible remarks to him. He's dealt with a shit ton. If he wants to just let it all out in a post-game interview after just winning his first Stanley Cup, what the hell's wrong with that, in my opinion? What do you think of that? I think that was one of the more memorable quotes after a Stanley Cup final win.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I agree with you 100%. Everything that he's gone through, and having those last couple of seasons where he ends up, basically his season ends because he gets suspended doing something, and it costs his team a chance to advance. And this year, I mean, not just in the playoffs, but even the regular season, he's got 28 goals, 87 total points, was third on the team, and then to have 15 more points in the playoffs, like I said, and come back and score a huge game-winning goal in the Cup final after essentially having thumb surgery. What, a week and a half before. It just shows the testament, like I said, the way he's grown as a complete hockey player now, and it's a great thing to see. Like I said, we see a lot of players, kind of, go up and down in their careers with different things or what have you. But to see him be where he's at now, like I said, he has every right to rub it into the haters' faces for sure.
No question about that. And well done. Like this not only rub it in, but he was a big part of why they won. So he has every right, I think, to be excited and maybe rub it in just a little bit. I think that was a little veiled shot to it, Kyle Dubas. I mean, I think if there was one person he may be thinking, or Shanahan, or everybody in the Maple Leaf front office, because they made the final decision that, hey, we're going to part ways with Kadri a couple of years ago, and now here he is, Stanley Cup champion. By the way, if you look at and if you follow the ESPN Twitter account, usually when you're a guy, the thing you love having in bed with you most is a hot woman next to you. But Eric Johnson, the one thing that maybe hockey players would love every bit as much, if not more, than a woman being in bed with, it's the Stanley Cup. I thought that was absolutely hilarious, right? The Stanley Cup. I mean, you just love that thing so much. It's such a beautiful trophy. It's so fucking hard to win it. You just bend over backwards, you break your back to try to win a Stanley Cup, and you finally do. Yeah, that feels just as good having the Lord Stanley next to me under the sheets there. Yeah, so bravo with that picture, Eric Johnson. Yeah,
that was a really, really cool one, like I said, and that's really the most interesting thing every year is, of course, the captain gets the cup first, but to see who they hand it off to on the team, because like I said, there's always a story of a guy who has played with, whether it was the organization, which he played in that organization. I didn't realize it was 12 years with that organization, 14 years overall. So to be there that long and be part of that process, but just to play that many games in that long in your career to finally win one, it's an incredible accomplishment.
No, it is. That was great. A lot of good moments. You could tell it was a really good, rambunctious celebration. They went to the Marriott 2 a.m. There were videos and photos of the Colorado Avalanche players, for sure. Taking the Stanley Cup with them and parading it around, partying it up late on a Sunday night in downtown. And downtown Denver was lit last night. My goodness, the images, the videos, it was popping in Denver. I know one of our friends there. Josh Lucero, big Avs fan. He's been on some of our betcasts. I don't know if he went down there and got involved in the celebration, but no doubt it was a lit atmosphere in Denver last night.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to do the parade up, right? I mean, we saw, how they've had the different concerts in the park during the Cup final and different things. So that's going to be a big time party for sure coming up. And I don't know what day it is. I'm sure they'll announce it later today when that parade will be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Thursday. I think I heard it was going to be on Thursday, the Stanley Cup parade. So definitely, it'll be a large turnout. They were totally into the Colorado Avalanche run and it's always been a pretty good hockey city, especially when the team's doing well. And we definitely saw that. And the crowd, the crowd was always very loud at Ball Arena. They had the great tradition doing all the small things with Blink 182. In the third period of these games, which was fun and great stuff.
It'd be cool to see if they actually make it to the parade. Sometimes they have. I know when the Hawks won, I think it was the 2010 or 2013 one, and the Fratellis, who played Chelsea Dagger, their goal song, actually showed up and performed. So that'd be pretty cool if Blink 182 can make it out there for the parade.
Yeah, I think so. Blink 182, NHL, Colorado Avalanche, put your heads together and make that happen on Thursday. That's what I say. That would be great to see that, no question. So congratulations to the Avs. Great Stanley Cup win. Tampa Bay, incredible in defeat. 3 years in a row being in the Stanley Cup final is just absolutely spectacular. And they deserve all the credit in the world for being the Warriors. They are. All right, before we say our grand thank yous and goodbyes and bon voyage, for the summer. We always do this. This has become a season finale episode tradition here on the Ice Guys. Take an early look ahead to 2022-2023 and the Stanley Cup futures board, because we do have the futures posted already. They don't waste time. Usually just, within an hour of the Stanley Cup final ending, they're already off and running, posting the futures for next year. We'll use DraftKings Sportsbook, of course, our partners here with the Hockey Podcast Network and the Ice Guys. We've got Colorado favored once again to win the Stanley Cup next year, plus 400. Following that, we have Toronto Maple Leafs, second favorites, plus 800. Team that hasn't won a goddamn round in the Stanley Cup playoffs in 18 years and counting. And here we are, second favorite on the board to win the Stanley Cup next year. I just laughed right away when I saw that. I mean, my gosh. I mean, could we win a series before we put the team up there in the second favorite spot? But there they are. The Toronto Maple Leafs as well. Oh, by the way, Melissa, if you're just jumping in and saying hello and you're busy and you're just heading out, enjoy your break too, Melissa. Great job. She's had a great, profitable season. So did I. I mean, phenomenal NHL season. 32.2 units of profit for the entire season, plus 41 for just the regular season for me. So I actually gave a decent chunk of it back in the playoffs, to be quite honest. It wasn't a great playoffs, but great season overall.
And keep in mind, for those of you following, we're talking about maybe 2,500 picks between October and yesterday. So that's an incredible accomplishment by far to be able to bet that many games and turn that kind of a profit. That's solid season.
And thanks, Alex. And the big part of it is now I don't want to make it sound like this is a routine season for me. This is one of my absolute best seasons. Yeah. I think the average plus unit season for me has been like in the 10 to 15 range. It hasn't been anything close to 30 or 40 units like this. But me just going high volume, everything I like, I bet. Everything I like, I bet. And just going high volume, low unit amount, has really done wonders for me. It's made it better. I don't have to hem and haw and just be so agitated and stressed out over, okay, I'm only going to bet 3 instead of maybe 8 or 9, and then go 0-3, and I'm pissed that I left 4 or 5 winners off my card. I'm done with those days. That's why I'm doing the high volume, low unit approach right now, and it's been working for me, and it did certainly this season. But getting back to the futures, Colorado plus 400, Toronto plus 800, Tampa Bay trying to get to the Stanley Cup final next year for a 4th straight year, plus 900. Florida Panthers, as the Paul Maurice era will get underway for them next year, 10-1, plus 1,000. The first team that piques my interest in terms of, just initial gut reaction and teams you may want to endorse, it's a team I've actually not liked down the stretch of this past year, Vegas, 14-1. Maybe with, Jack Eichel getting his shit together, we'll see where they go in net. We'll see if Leonard's healthy, which is a question. Is Logan Thompson ready to be a big-time factor in net for the Golden Knights? I do like the Cassidy hire. That's a big reason why I'm a little bit higher, much higher now on Vegas than maybe I was before that. So I'm tempted with the 14-1. Carolina is one of those teams that they've kept on coming up short, but they're certainly going to be motivated to get over the hump. They've got that Colorado feel to them going into next year. That first round, second round, they just can't get over the hump. 14-1 for them. Calgary 18-1, Minnesota 18-1, Edmonton 18-1 is very interesting now that they've locked in Jay Woodcroft for next season. We know how their fortunes changed once he took over. Much better hockey team, but I do want to see them in the offseason, Alex. Shore up the blue line, find an answer in net. I don't care who it is, but it's got to be someone better than what you've got right now. But just an initial look is that 18-1 does at least interest me when it comes to the Oilers. Penguins 20-1, Rangers 20-1, another team that took a huge step forward this year. Eastern Conference Final, way ahead of schedule in Gerard Gallant's first year. Still going to have obviously one of the best goalies in the world, and Igor Shesterkin back again, manning the pipes for them. 20-1's interesting there with the Rangers, and then you got the Blues 22-1, the Bruins 22-1. I won't be betting that one. I know that. Washington 35-1, New York Islanders 35-1, kind of a buy low situation with them. Lane Lambert's taken over as the head coach, a Barry Trotz disciple for years. And a season where everything that could go wrong did for the Islanders. There could be some buy low opportunity there. Dallas 45-1, Vancouver 45-1, Kings 45-1, even Vancouver 45-1. Full year under Boudreau. They got roster improvements to make, but full year under Boudreau, you never know. Detroit 50-1, Sabres 50-1, Nashville 55, Winnipeg 60-1, Philly 60-1, Ottawa 70, Ottawa, New Jersey, and Anaheim 75-1, Columbus, Chicago, San Jose, Seattle, all 100-1, and right at the bottom, you've got the Montreal Canadiens 150-1, and the Arizona Coyotes dead last 500-1 to win the Stanley Cup. So, Alex, Stanley Cup futures, just some teams either for or against that stand out to you an initial look.
Yeah, three teams I would put a circle around right now. One is Carolina. This team looks to be, like I said, just now ready to get over that hump. And you look at, obviously I followed at least the minor league team close now because they're affiliated with the Wolves and they went and won the Calder Cup. But keep in mind that same group won the last Calder Cup in 2019 when they were the Charlotte Checkers. That was their affiliate at the time. So there's a lot of winning pedigree amongst that young group, that young core that's going to move up. And Carolina may not have to go and spend a ton of money to, fill some of these gaps. They might be able to bring up some of those homegrown guys. Peter Kochetkov is a guy who went 13-1-1 in the AHL during the regular season, got a little bit of time with the, Carolina in the playoffs, and then goes right back down, goes 5-1 with 2 shutouts, wins the Calder Cup. He might be a guy who could fill in and maybe take Ronta's spot, as a backup and be a better pairing with Frederik Andersen, and who's to say he's going to be back and fully healthy in time for opening night. So when you have those issues, they've got Jack LaFontaine, they've got Alex Lyon, they've got a depth of decent goalies that can keep them afloat. They've got a ton of offensive talent, a ton of speed. So that's a team I would definitely look for. The Minnesota Wild at 18-1, I think, is another team I'd look at too. I mean, they're gonna be tight with the cap a little bit, but they've got some young players that are up and coming. They'll be able to make a few moves. And I think as far as the teams that are more cap strapped, that's a team I like a little bit more than, say, a Vegas team. Vegas is already, I think, almost $3 million over the cap. They're going to have to do a lot of finagling and, like I said, re-signing and figuring things out, I think, before they get to the top. And then the New York Rangers at 20-1. They can get that offense consistently rolling throughout the season and into the playoffs. They're a dangerous team. Shesterkin's definitely a goalie on the rise. He's right there with Vasilevsky. We saw how great the two of them were in that Eastern Conference final. So those are 3 teams I would have circled. Obviously, I'm not betting anything futures right now. I want to wait for the draft coming up, free agency. But those are 3 teams I definitely would have on the rise for next season. And I think there's going to be a dramatic shift in the Atlantic Division next year. Boston's taking a step down. I think Tampa will have to take a step down because they got to make some moves, like I said, regarding the cap. Buffalo on the rise, Detroit on the rise, Toronto, how long can they continue, okay, if they have another great regular season, or let's say they don't, let's say that this, their mindset is off at the beginning of the year. And then, do they start making moves, in the middle of the year? Do they look toward blowing this thing up if they can't win next year? So there's a lot of question marks in that Atlantic Division. So I'd be very leery of betting anything Atlantic Division until probably we get closer to September.
Yeah, definitely. Again, these are just initial looks for me as well. Yeah. Am I locking in any Stanley Cup futures the day after the season ends? Hell no. Of course not. But definitely there's some things to keep in mind. Yeah, Buffalo, I'm high on Buffalo, but Buffalo winning the Stanley Cup next year, no, they're not at that level yet, not even close. I mean, but I will say once the props are released for yes, no, make the playoffs, I might be interested in Buffalo a little bit for a yes. I just might be. We'll see what the price is. Again, we just got to see what they do with goaltending too, because I don't know if I want to trust. I certainly don't want to trust some of their Dustin Tokarski for another year. Not necessarily. Can they get some of their other goalies healthy? How good is this Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen kid going to be? He was injured. They kind of like the guy. I thought he played well at times, but we need to see more of him. I think he's probably the best, in terms of upside that they've got on their current roster. I'm hearing some things about whether they're interested in Fleury, believe it or not, in the offseason. There's some rumblings Fleury in Buffalo might be a fit. Anderson might retire after next year, for the Sabres. Craig Anderson had a great career. Tokarski, again, is not a number one material kind of goalie. Neither is Malcolm Subban. To me, it's going to be, do they bring in Fleury? Do they bring in maybe a more bona fide number one option? Or do you give, basically the rein in net to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? And because you feel he's got upside, he's got potential. He had pretty good numbers in the AHL and actually played good in a few games with the Sabres before the injury struck. So give him a look maybe. But yeah, definitely I want to see what they do with their goaltending because they've got the forwards. There's no doubt. Tage Thompson is breaking into a bona fide, I don't want to say superstar, but a star forward. There's no doubt. Tage Thompson's got star forward potential. He had a breakout year. Skinner, he had a bounce back year for the Sabres. There's lots to like with them. Victor Olofsson, if Casey Middlestat can stay healthy, there's good things there. And you want to watch out for some like Tage Thompson, we know broke out and had a big year and could be a big-time player for them next year. Watch out for Dylan Cousins. This is a guy that had a good World Hockey Championship just last month for Canada. He had a strong finish last season. He's going to be even, have a full season under his belt now in the NHL. Dylan Cousins for the Sabres, I think, has got a lot of upside there. Dahlin had a bounce-back year. Owen Power, full season of him. They like Jacob Bryson as well, another good young defenseman for the Sabres. Yeah, there's a reason why I really, really like this team going into next year. But at the end of the day, I want to see what they do with their goaltending. There's no question about that as well. So the NHL season has ended. I will give you it's a homer bet, but I will give you a hockey play for tonight. It's the Memorial Cup. It's the semifinal. It's my Hamilton Bulldogs. They are in action against the Shawinigan Cataracts. The winner taking on the St. John Sea Dogs, the host of the tournament, Wednesday in the final. And for those of you in the States that want to watch these Memorial Cup games, NHL Network will have the game tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Hamilton, Shawinigan, semifinal. In the Memorial Cup, the winner will take on St. John Wednesday in the Memorial Cup final. I'm on Hamilton in regulation at plus 110 is the price with that. Hamilton is a pretty sizable favorite here. They actually lost to Shawinigan. Hamilton's really been overvalued because they were the number one ranked team in the CHL for much of the season, but revenge doesn't matter. They both want to win, but Hamilton lost to Shawinigan, and all three Shawinigan goals were on the power play. So if you're Jay McKee, the head coach of the Bulldogs, you know what you tell this team tonight? Stay out of the box. Play this game at 5-on-5 even strength, and you're going to have a decent chance here to win this game. So, again, Shawinigan's very good. Xavier Bourgault is a terrific player for them. You're going to see him with the Edmonton Oilers. Like the Oilers need more scoring, and they've got Xavier Bourgault about to join the team next year. Maverick Bourque, a terrific player for Shawinigan as well. Very good hockey team. Excellent. So it won't be easy for Hamilton, but I'm betting with my heart here. Hamilton in regulation, plus 110. Hopefully Mason McTavish, Logan Morrison, Avery Hayes, Marco Costantini, and the boys end up getting the job done and get to the Memorial Cup final. So I'm looking forward to that tonight, Memorial Cup semifinal. See, my hockey season isn't over yet, at least from a viewing standpoint, for sure. So I'm looking forward to that tonight, cheering on the Bulldogs, no question about that. And speaking of non-NHL hockey, congrats, Alex, to your Chicago Wolves on the AHL Calder Cup championship that they won over Springfield. Great celebration, a little flip of the bird for Alex Lyon during the celebration as well. I actually feel good for Alex Lyon. Alex Lyon, has had tough times in the NHL level with Philadelphia. It seems like every time he went in net, we would look to bet the over. It's just the way it was. But to see him, have a nice run of it in the AHL for the Wolves this year, great to see, and a really damn good hockey team. And they definitely had a nice roster this year. This group that won the Calder Cup, and of all years for them to win the Calder Cup, talk about it. Your dad, Alex, and all the games he took you to for the Chicago Wolves. It's like it was written in the stars for this to happen.
Yeah, it was, and seeing how they played during the regular season and so forth, and seeing the draw that they got in the because the AHL playoffs were really different this year. They basically had a first round bye, but they still had to play 4 rounds to go because of how everything was aligned this year. But they just had a wonderful team. Like I said, that Charlotte formerly Charlotte, but the Carolina organization, they've done a really good job of building these players. And Drury, Podolowski. They've got a ton of guys that are there that are, they're AHL quality guys, but maybe they can chip in and give some help to the Hurricanes down the line. Like I said, Kochetkov was great. Lyon, he said he's pretty much an AHL goalie, at best in his career. But hey, it's still professional hockey, and to win at that level, it's no easy feat. So kudos to him as well, and just a great run. And like you said, for them to win it this year was just extra special. It's their 5th league title. I remember being a little kid in 1998 when they won the first Turner Cup. And like I said, ever since then, that was something that me and my dad did for years. So he would be truly thrilled to know that they've got their 5th title and their first title since 2008.
Yeah, awesome. Just great stuff. No doubt. Smiling father of yours definitely watching that Chicago Wolves championship run. And with all, we can't be remiss if we omitted the Kelly Cup champions as well in the ECHL, the Florida Everblades, which is a great name, by the way. I really like that name, the Everblades, Florida. And it's funny, the captain of the team we had it lined up for him to be one of our guests, but of course he's busy going for the Kelly Cup because don't want to disrupt that. But John McCarron, who's the captain of that team, was actually going to join us on the show, but we'll get that down the road, bring him on the show for sure. But congratulations to them, the Florida Everblades, no question about that. Nice job for them winning the ECHL Kelly Cup as well. So there you go. And that's a great segue, talking about having possibly John McCarron. We were going to have him as a guest if he wasn't playing the Kelly Cup. But great segue into wrapping up the show, wrapping up the season that was. Oh, and one last time, remember, promo code THPN with DraftKings. I can't do the full promo because there is no hockey to promo right now with DraftKings. So just check them out, promo code THPN. This is our final show of the season, and we're going to do our thank yous now. And first of all, just in the more immediate past, I want to thank the countless number of people we've had on as guests for the last month or two since the Stanley Cup playoffs began. The headliners being, Bobby Ryan and Ryan Johnston and Andrew Gordon, guys that played significant time in the NHL, Derek Roy, Carl Alsner, Matt Carey. I mean, the list goes on and on about the great guests that we had here throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we really do appreciate that. All of them joining us, taking the time to be with us during our Stanley Cup playoff shows. It's been a long season. We started this thing in October, and here we are, June 27th, wrapping it up. And again, I thank Alex, Andrew, Jimmy Murphy. Jimmy's still with part of the crew. It's just he's taking a break here at the end of the season. He's been busy. He's been writing for 2 sites, Montreal and Boston. Jimmy Murphy is still a full-time member of this crew. Will be back with us next season, of course, as well. Andrew McGinnis, Alex B. Smith. And look, next year we're going to be determined, but we're going to have some format changes and some things that'll be changed. We're going to get a lot more incorporating different people on to be guest contributors as well, not just playoffs, but regular season as well next year. So we got lots of cool things planned, but the basis and the fundamental, crux of the show will not change. And that's 7 days a week, every single game, breaking it down from an NHL betting perspective, side totals, player props. It's been a fun season. No question about that. And last of all, who we have to thank? Everybody that watches, everybody that listens, everybody that tunes in on YouTube every day, either live or archived, everybody that downloads the podcast on a daily basis, because we can't do the show without you. Our numbers are going up, and it's all thanks to you. We get more podcast downloads, the subscriber numbers on our YouTube channel, which, by the way, hit the like button on this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And anyone that that is a sports bet fan or a sports bettor or a hockey fan or a hockey bettor, tell them about the Ice Guys. Simple as that. And let them know to subscribe to the channel. And it would help us out quite a bit. But no, we've got a good thing going. We've got things planned. We finally want to do this now that things are finally getting back to normal in terms of day-to-day living, and things, we've found ways to combat, COVID to the point where we can live our lives again. We are definitely interested in doing some kind of Ice Guys on the road trip next year. Road trip, meet and greet type of thing. We are going to do one next year, 100%. Next season we will have one. Date to be determined, location to be determined, but we will absolutely have an Ice Guys meet and greet and road trip event next year to meet all our hang out and just watch hockey, drink, you name it, do whatever, have some fun. Party it up, whoop it up with our viewers and listeners next year. So we're definitely looking forward to that. No question about that. So everybody that contributed to the show and just our, other semi-regular, DJ Mitchell, thanks for joining us a bunch of times this year. Vito, of course, who we talked about earlier, joining us a bunch of times. We had Jake Hahn joining us for a bit. The list goes on and on. Too many to name. We thank everybody that was a part of this show and making it the special show and the fun show that it is every single day for us. Great stuff, great season. Can't wait for next year. But at the same time, man, am I ever fucking ready for a break. I am. These are going to be an enjoyable 2 months. Now, in terms of off-season content, we will have either a live or a pre-recorded free agency recap show. We've done this every year. middle of July. We'll do that again for you in a few weeks after the first week of free agency passes by. Recap, signings we like, signings we don't like, who improved their team a lot, who maybe didn't do enough, all that kind of stuff, and how it will impact things from a betting perspective. And then other than that show, it's pretty much see you late September, early October for next season. So it's been a great year. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, certainly to everyone that tunes in and listens and watches the show daily. And the betcasts were great. Thanks to those of you that joined us on those throughout the season as well. Just another terrific season of the show, and looking forward to next year. Alex, your final thoughts on a season that was.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a year, for me personally, and just I want to say thanks to you, Ian. Thanks to everybody who's watched, and definitely download the show, watch us live, watch us, after the fact, before the games, join us for the betcast. Just everybody that's kept this thing afloat throughout the season. Jimmy and Andrew, Vito, and everybody, and all the different guests who stepped in too, because I missed a lot of shows, obviously, with different things throughout the year. So it's nice that those guys are able to step up in my absence, and Jimmy having to deal with stuff or whatever. We've always been able to kind of have a plug and play system, to use a hockey term there. So I'm really grateful for that. And like I said, just grateful for everybody who supported us. If you bought a shirt or a hoodie from the Ice Guys store, like I said, you've downloaded it, you told friends. Like I said, even here in St. Paul, I've ran into people this year that have downloaded the show or heard about the show from somebody, or watched the show. So the fact that this thing keeps growing, I'm happy to be a part of it, and want to continue to be a part of this for years to come. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been so supportive of us, and it's just been a wonderful year of hockey, and it'll be nice to get the rest. I know, Ian, you deserve all of the rest for sure. You've been carrying this thing, like I said, damn near every day, hosting it, and right from the jump. So, it'll be nice to have some time off, but it'll be great to get back in September and October and get ready for, like I said, what's going to feel like a fully normal hockey season. It starts in September with camp and go right into June with the finals. So, it'd be nice to kind of just get back to that normal feel and a fresh slate for 32 teams. See what happens in the next year of hockey.
Absolutely. It's and another exciting season filled with questions, filled with intrigue. No question going into next year. We're definitely excited for that. Well said. And yeah, Alex, you were a trooper, though. I mean, you had to deal with a lot this year, professionally, personally, family, of course, losing your dad. Everything you went through, it was and you battled through it, And it's great to see that. And we love you. I know that. I feel the same. I know our viewers and our listeners feel the same, and we're definitely excited for the future. No question about that, and what's to come. So absolutely. With that, I think it's a perfect time to wrap it up. It's time for the summer to begin. It's time to enjoy some relaxation and some fun times. No question about that. But thanks to everyone for joining us from the bottom of our heart. Can't do the show without all of you. Have yourselves a phenomenal summer. Alex P. Smith for him, for Andrew McGinnis, Jimmy Murphy, Vito, everyone that was a part of the Ice Guys all season long. This is Ian Cameron signing off one final time. Enjoy your summer. Have a blast. We will do a free agency show in mid-July. And we're looking forward to the summer. And, of course, we will be back next season. Once again, better than ever, another season of the Ice Guys. Have an awesome summer, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Ice Guys out.